Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial we are going to be stepping away from tumblers and making these adorable cactus floral glitter pens. I found these at Hobby Lobby for like $2, and I did find them on Amazon and Oriental Trading as well, and I'll link both of those down below for y'all. So I just took them out of the pack, screwed off the pen tip and took out the inside. And I'm going in with a 220 grit piece of sandpaper, and I'm just sanding down that glossy surface on these little pens. I'm making sure that I do get into those little tiny crevices so that our glitter glue is going to adhere really nicely to this surface. I am using my pen adapter from Imagination 3D. Now these are a little small for this. It probably would have been best if I took some electrical tape and just wrapped it around the end. It would have slid all the way up on that little dowel. But if you were using a regular pen that we have seen many make, they actually slide all the way up onto these little dowels and work just a little bit better. We're going to use FERN and Irish Luck from PDB Creative Studio. They have some gorgeous green glitters, so I will list some alternatives below as well. And I'm taking my COLORFLEX glitter glue from ARTISTRY epoxy, and I'm just painting that onto the little cactus. So you really want to make sure that you have one good coverage, get down in all those little crevices. So I'm using a smaller paintbrush, and you definitely do not want to put this on thick in any areas. You want it to be nice, even, thin coat of glitter glue. You can also use the epoxy method. I just thought this would be easier since we had those tiny little places we had to get in. Sprinkle that glitter on, tap off the excess, and then we just pop that right back onto our little pen attachment. And then once all of these are finished, I just allowed them to sit for about 4 hours, and then I sprayed down with Rust-Oleum matte clear coat to seal in my glitter before applying my first layer of epoxy. For our epoxy, I am using Artistry's 1:1 ratio fast set, and I have this little paintbrush. You can use those cheap little kids paintbrushes that usually come in the little paint kits. Those are more inexpensive than this one I have. I did buy some of the cheap ones and then I couldn't find them, and I'm only using this for the first coat on these because I want to get down in those crevices into the glitter as well, and then when I go in with my second coats, it's a little bit easier to get the coverage. And I am applying a very thin layer of epoxy. Before we add on our little decals, we're only going to do 2 thin layers of epoxy. If you add too much to these little pens, you are going to get waves whenever you apply any heat or as they're drying. So make sure you get that really nice, even, thin coverage so your pens are nice and smooth in the end. Now I am using the Artistry's 1:1 ratio fast set. After 45 minutes, I went in with my second coat of epoxy. I let those sit overnight, and then I am taking a 220 grit piece of sandpaper. As you can see, it is wet. I just ran it under the faucet so I could show you here. And I am just sanding down some of those little pokey glitter bits that are standing up. Make sure that you get around that little bottom. If necessary, use a craft knife and trim off any excess epoxy that has made its way into it or over that bottom rim. Now, again, these didn't fit perfectly onto the pen attachment. If you are using the typical pens that everyone has been making, it fits perfectly and there is no chance of epoxy making its way to the inside because that little silicone piece will protect it. After I sanded, I cut out these cute little flowers. They are 0.6 to 1 inch, and I used this Buttercrafts sticker paper, and y'all, this stuff is amazing. I got these little flowers from Creative Fabrica, and I will link that below as well for y'all. I'm just going to seal them in with my glitter glue. Since our pens are sanded, we cannot do a clear coat of spray paint to seal these in, so I'm just going to do it prior to adding them to the pens. And then once I have my glue on there, while it is still wet, I'm going to remove that excess around the little flowers so that it does not dry and get stuck to it. And once they were dry, I just added them to my pens. You want to make sure that they are pressed down really well. I will say it would probably be better if the pens were glossy for this step instead of sanded, because I did have a little bit of lifting once I put my epoxy on, but I was able to go back in and press that down as it was drying to avoid having it popping up. After I added on my little stickers, I still felt like it needed a little something extra. So to add in the little pointy or spikes to the cactus, I decided to add in some little black polka dots. And I just took like this little craft toothpick and went in and put some tiny little dots all around my flowers. I allowed that to dry and then went in with 2 final layers of epoxy. And again, just doing really thin layers, and we will build up that coverage with more coats of epoxy so that our pens are nice and smooth and don't have any rippling. I was also sure to pay close attention to the bottom portion of the pen and make sure I didn't have any epoxy collecting right there at the end, because I don't want to have to do too much cleanup or it be thick or uncomfortable where the pen is going to be held and that attachment screws back in. And once they're dried completely, I just removed them from the attachment. This one was sort of stuck on there and just straight yeeted across my craft room. Good thing the epoxy is durable. The pen was fine. I made sure that there wasn't any epoxy that had crept over the end where the pens would connect together, and just grabbed the insides and the attachment, screwed that back on, and our pens were done. I'm not gonna lie, I have tried the regular glitter pens before and have been very unsuccessful, so I had not tried them again, but when I saw these little cactus pens, I just had to give it another shot, and it was successful. I'm so happy with the way that these turned out. They are so cute and perfect to customize, especially with summer rolling right around the corner. I hope that you all enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments down below for me. As always, all the products that I used will be listed down in the description below. We do have a Facebook group and an Instagram page where I do post small little clips and mini tutorials, so don't forget to follow and join there. Like this video and subscribe to the channel, that helps us out so much, and hit the little bell to be notified anytime a new tutorial drops. Thank you all so much, and we will see you next time.